Hello, I am Pro A007, and this is an AGDQ 2018 speedrun submission. I am playing Syphon Filter, a third-person shooter released for the PlayStation on February 17, 1999. This is an any percent speedrun, and I will be attempting to complete the game in 1 hour and 30 minutes. Okay, let's begin. So, this game came out a couple of months after the sort of big successes that Metal Gear Solid and Half-Life were, extremely popular shooting games, and it was about 16 months after GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64, and it kind of has some elements of all three of those games to some degree, but it is sort of its own creature in that it's third person, but it involves more sort of physical action from the protagonist, Gabe Logan. He can roll, he can climb on things, he has to interact with objects throughout, and so it doesn't, while the shooting is still the sort of main purpose of the game, it does involve a little more flexibility than you would normally expect from a game at this time. It's something you'd be more akin to seeing in a Mario game to some extent, or maybe a Zelda game. So it was an interesting title. It was a sleeper hit for 989 Studios, the publisher, and AGDQ, the developer. It sold over 1 million copies. Subsequently spawned 5 more games of the franchise before coming to an end in 2007. And with the exception of the PS2 one, Omega Strain, the other games did okay commercially and critically. The PSP games, Dark Mirror and Logan Shadow, didn't sell that great, which is unfortunate because they're actually quite good. So there hasn't been a Syphon Filter game since 2007, which is a shame, because I think this franchise would be ideal for today. I think they could do some really interesting things with the advances in technology, but doesn't seem to be any real demand for it. And so what I'm going to be doing throughout the game here, I didn't do it the first time, is it's an interaction skip, basically, where I'm going to try and press the square and the triangle buttons at the same time when interacting with an object to skip the animation sequence, the animation of him actually pressing the switch or whatever. And that time I did it correctly. And doing that correctly saves you about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds of watching Gabe press that switch or whatever. And that might not seem like much, but it does add up. You do it about 50 to 55 times in the game. Some levels, there's a lot of it, whereas others, not so much. So it's just something you got to learn throughout. And it's a fairly precise trick. And sometimes, the interaction window is very narrow for whatever reason. It's on a weird angle or what have you. So it's just something you got to work on in practice. Now this is a hybrid of that technique where I press the crouch button and the interaction button at the same time. And you kind of did that funny walk towards the object, which is faster than the normal animation, which is Gabe dropping to one knee and then planting the beacon in this case. It's about 1 second save, and I'll be doing that about 10 to 12 times throughout the game. Okay, got the interaction there. So this first level is pretty straightforward. It's kind of get you acclimated to the game. It's fairly non-linear for the first half of it. You have to go in two different buildings to complete objectives. None of it's especially difficult. It's just getting used to the game's physics and all that. I mean, if you die, you really did something wrong. And the only real danger of actually dying is this spot here. If you're too close to the wall on Gabe's right, when that guy throws the grenade, there's a decent chance that it will bounce off the wall and ignite the bomb. So that was about a 435 first level. That was pretty good. Now the second level here has the first of potentially 3 fire skips. Basically, I'm going to run through this wall of fire here, or roll as it were. And that was actually a very good fire skip. I actually have armor left.
That should be all the C4 you need to blow up in that passage.
So basically, normally you're supposed to go left and around all these obstacles, and then eventually you'd come down here. This fire skip saves about 20 to 25 seconds. Of course, the downfall is you have very little armor or health left, and if you don't do it right, you can very easily die. But with practice, you can usually do it accurately almost all the time. Now, this is the leap of faith. So normally you're supposed to shimmy across the metal bar to get over the chasm, but if you angle yourself correctly, you can just run off the edge and then grab the edge of the platform. Oof, that wasn't good. At least I got the interaction skip there. That's a tricky one just because it's a narrow piece of platform you're on. It's easy to fall off. You're trying to do the interaction skip. Got that one. So yeah, there aren't a lot of sequence breaks or big skips, but that's definitely one of them.
Cover me.
I just have to take out that guard and then I can just run off. Really no danger of that CBDC agent getting killed. So now, coming up here is a sort of a roll. It's not really basically you want to roll off the edge in such a way so that basically Gabe lands without breaking stride. If you do it too early or too late, Gabe will sort of land awkwardly and sort of center himself, which is about a 1 second time loss. So that's the end of the level. It's really short. Now this next level is even shorter than that one, and basically all I have to do is shoot Maura arm off in the head. And hopefully I get this correctly. Nope, oh, I did get her. It was hard to tell. I didn't see the blood animation.
Where's Romer?
Basically, if I didn't do that, I would just run under the little gap there in the middle of the tracks and shot her then. But that was good. So it's like a 5-second loss if you don't get it the first time. But we're still talking about a level that takes under 30 seconds. Now this is the first long level, and it's also the first challenging level. Well, challenging is probably the wrong word, but runs can die very easily on this level because the main crux of this level involves Gabe protecting CBDC agents as they disarm bombs. Not so hard, but the terrorists are going to try and stop him, and they're going to try to kill the CBDC agent. If they kill the agent, the mission's over. Now, that first one's really easy. All I have to do is take out 2 terrorists and then just run off, and that'll be the end of it. I'm going to skip the bomb on my radar there. I'm going to save that for later. This next one is probably the hardest, only because I'm covering a wide, almost 360 degrees. And that's not always easy. That's why I picked up the M16 in level 1, because I'm trying to accurately cover the area I'm protecting without getting myself killed or the CBDC agent killed. The 45 is what I normally use. The only problem with that gun is, while it's more powerful than the M16, it has a slower fire rate. It's not a good start. Okay. So in that case, 3 guards coming at me from 3 pretty different angles, that's not an easy thing to do, to cover with a 45. The M16, while not the most powerful gun in the game, can
All clear, Gabe.
Certainly take care of these enemies with relative ease, and it's got a pretty wide distance. can hit targets from far away with relative ease. So that danger is past. The next two bombs aren't too difficult. They have slight challenges, but nothing that's really going to make me nervous. Sometimes guards appear at the end of that corridor, but they decided to take mercy on me.
CBDC has the signal. They're on their way. Stand by.
Cover me. Bomb disarmed.
All clear.
It's hard to tell how many guards you have to kill to get to the checkpoint. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6 in this case, but decided to play it a little safe there. I could have started running probably after I shot that 5th one. This last one isn't hard, just that it can be a little challenging because they tend to come in threes,
Cover me.
like so. Switch to the 45 because I want to save some. Ooh, no.
All clear, Gabe.
Makes me wish I had taken that flak jacket when I could have, but that's fine. I'm not really in any danger of getting hit for the rest of the level, I don't think. And I'll get a flak jacket later on, just to get my health back to where it used to be before I took that damage. This isn't too hard. You just got to be a little careful with that first guard. You don't want to be too close to this guard when you shoot him, because you have to be stealthy because you cannot sound the alarm, and because that terrorist will kill the 2 CBDC agents. So you just use a silence pistol, you'll be fine. So this section up ahead, I'm going to ignore the 2 terrorists walking around, just because there's no point in getting into a gunfight if you don't have to. While this game does emphasize action, it also emphasizes in various spots for you to be smart with your health and your ammo, because it doesn't take much to have both drained. If you're not smart about how to approach this game tactically. So this hedge maze section up ahead is not too difficult, and it's got to be pretty precise with my shot on Marcos, who is the trigger man for this operation. You can go 1 to 2 ways, left or right. Right is safer, and it's faster, but you can go left if you so choose. Okay, got him. Picked up a little armor. I like to save a little bit of M16 ammo for that section, just because M16 is a little more forgiving than, say, a 45 or a 9mm. They're semi-automatics. So, this is the end of the level. Just going to run through these guards. It's not very accurate. I'm just going to keep rolling until the level actually ends.
We don't have much time.
That was a good level overall, actually. That was pretty efficient. It might have been like a 545. So this is the first real boss of the game, Anton Gurdu. He's not very difficult. There's 3 shotgun blasts to his napalm valve.
Can't hide.
And there he is. That was actually a really good fight, because usually I end up missing or having to strafe away from him. So that was about a 1342 or so. That's pretty good. That's faster than normal. I got a good first level, and I got a pretty good 4th level. Now this is the first real stealth portion of the game. We're supposed to be following Fagin, but I'm going to be attempting the Fagin skip, which will save about 75 seconds if I do it correctly. Okay. Counting off on the radar, my radar screen here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I did this correctly, when I run through the Stonehenge bit. Yep, got it. So slide past this guard here. And now I can just run through the rest of this level. I still have to be stealthy because that's the whole point of this. I'm supposed to be shadowing a meeting. The idea is you get ahead of Fagin, you don't have to follow him because all you're doing is going to this one part of the level. The Egyptian room. And this saves about 75 seconds because when you follow him it takes about 2 minutes.
Gabe, Fagin's
So
running
now,
for it. Romer and Airmog.
okay, got Benton.
He's finished.
It's really important to get him quickly because if he starts running, he doesn't really go in any particular pattern, and he's actually very dangerous because he runs the whole time, and he's very accurate with the gun. Ugh, that control panel always gets me. So the rest of this level is fairly straightforward. It basically revolves around grabbing key cards off of guards and progressing to the security room. Nothing too complicated. The only thing with this level is guards are going to start wearing flak jackets. So it's a little more important that I get the headshot technique down. That's not too difficult, but okay. Armed. Okay. Not the quickest I've ever done with that guard. Okay. Sometimes you can get as many as 4 guards after you take out the one with the key card. It just depends. Today I was fortunate. I only had to deal with 1. And there might be a guard at the top of this platform here. That's fairly random. But it's not a... Yep. So the interaction skip gets a lot of play here. In this level and in the next one too. Good thing and not that I was in any danger, but it really is important that you get through that gate because that's a 35-second time loss if you somehow miss. Probably wasn't really in any danger, but you know, you got to be quick about it. That went pretty well. I mean, I've been shot at from 3 different directions, so gotta be a little careful with the guards. Pick up some G18 ammo, and I'm pretty much gonna use this for the next minute or so. The G18 is a very useful gun. It's got the second highest fire rate in the game. It's got the highest fire rate in the game by far. So when you're dealing with guards with flak jackets, you don't really need necessarily the headshot, though still a good idea because about 20 rounds from this gun will pretty much cut through them in almost no time. So a little bit about me, I suppose. I've been speedrunning this game since January of this year. I've been a big fan of the franchise since it first came out in '99. So when I got interested in speedrunning, this was one of the first games I thought of that I thought I'd be good at. Actually, the first choice I had was Red Faction, but unfortunately, you can only really run the game optimally on a PC, and I don't have a PC. I have a Mac, so that didn't take. So Syphon Filter was really my second choice, and goes so well. And Syphon Filter was my second choice, and I was a little surprised when I started doing some research on the game that A, it had never been run at a Games Done Quick before, and B, there really wasn't a community for it. And there had been some segmented runs by a Swedish runner named JY, and there had been some other interest in the game, but nothing substantial. And there's only on speedrun.com, when I got into this, there was only one runner on the books, an American runner named Clicks Gaming, who specializes more in Resident Evil. So that was interesting. So I learned from JY and I learned from Clicks Gaming, and I got better and better at it. And the style of play that I had already used in this game was kind of a natural extension to how to speedrun this game. So, and then JY got interested in the game again because of my interest and because of Clicks Gaming's interest, and it didn't take long for him to establish the current world record. His current world record is 108.59. And that is far better than my PB, which is currently 115.05. And he's pretty much established all of the basic tricks of this game. I've offered a couple of ideas, but most of what you see was implemented or discovered by him. That could have gone better. Ugh. Not the most efficient way to get through this.
Tell me where the virus labs are.
So he is really the standard bearer, and I think he has a slight advantage in that he's running on the European version. I'm not. I'm running on the American version. We think, and he agrees with me on this, the European version is faster. Not by much, but enough to probably give him another minute or two advantage on me. I don't have the time or the money at the moment to deal with it, and I'm more interested in just improving on my own without that kind of thing hanging over my head. But he's been very generous with his time and his attention to my questions. He helped me with the fake and skip. He helped me with a few other little things to make me a more efficient runner, and we're both. It helps that we're both big fans of the game. Okay, this level is stealth optional. So basically, you could run through this level without sounding any alarms if you want, and
planted the first explosive.
For beginners, it's probably a good idea. Unfortunately, I was hoping to do a sort of hybrid of that tactic. I wanted to have stealth until I planted charges on the third fuel tank. It's partly AI manipulation, and it's just partly a little easier, I think. Fortunately, that didn't take, so I'm going to have to do this sort of standard way. I don't know if this is necessarily faster. I think it might be, because I'm not getting into combat for these. I'm really getting into combat either way. But let's see if I get a good AI draw here. Nope. I'm going to do a checkpoint reset. It basically resets the AI to their starting points, so I don't have to deal with guards shooting at me when I come back here. It's kind of a cheat, but it does cost time. But it's no less costly than getting into a gunfight. Let's see if I get Gabrick here. He's okay. Took care of him. Now see, that's much slower than the normal way, than the way I've been doing it. I'm going to do another checkpoint reset here, just to clear the decks, so I don't have to deal with guards on this side either. So the rest of this level is pretty basic. Just one more fuel tank, turn off the power to the motion sensors, etc. Get into the bunker. I'm going to try and stay at full health. It's not required. It'll just make the start of the next level a little faster because I won't be going for the flak jacket at the beginning.
Power to the motion sensors. I'm heading over to the bunkers now. That's the last explosive. I'll trigger the timer once I'm on the roof and have disabled their radar.
Copy.
Got a good AI pattern there. Yeah. Sometimes I reset depending on circumstances. Especially if I were doing it the stealth way, I probably would have reset because what I did only works really with a shotgun. And I just wanted to pick up some extra PK-102 ammo. Got 3 guards there. Okay. So hopefully there are going to be 2 to 3 guards at the end here, and they're all going to be toting shotguns. I should be okay. And I took a little bit of damage, but nothing fatal. It was a good level overall. It was about a 335 or so. Not bad. This level is where the interaction skip really comes into play, because I'm doing a lot of it. Wanted to take care of the door and then get the armor rather than the other way around, because there's always a risk that I could end up getting hit, and that would have negated the work I had done in the first place. So
I've got the first firing code. Check.
yeah. Having a little struggle early with this. Did not get the good AI pattern. I was hoping they would all be kind of bunched together. Basically, this is really one of the first examples of AI manipulation, because the game can only handle so many enemy sprites on screen at the same time. So by having only 4 on screen at the same time, it keeps the AI from appearing in places they would have normally if I had shot my way through this place. Now, there's no point in doing the interaction skip because it's all on a global timer. So you'd just be doing it just to show off. Far be it from me if that's your preference, but there's really no point. And it wastes ammo. Not that that's going to be a huge deal, because I'm going to restock on PK-102 ammo at the start of the next level, but and I'm really not going to get into any more combat situations. So it's basically going to be just avoiding guards. Now this laser thing here, this is easy to forget because you're kind of just trying to get to the finish, and well, you have to take out that laser, otherwise you're never getting out of here. That didn't go so well. I just want to keep that guard from shooting at me.
Gabe, check your fire. Damaging that missile could set it off.
Yeah.
I've got the last code. I'm going to try to find a way.
The other thing to note with that interaction skip is Gabe has to have his machine gun at a ready fire position to do it. You can't do it with him just sort of carrying the gun across his chest. It has to be in a ready to fire position. And as I may have indicated earlier, it can only be done with machine guns. You cannot do it with a semi-automatic. Now this level can be really good, or it can be a real chore. Let's see which one it is today.
Leon, I'm on the roof.
Hopefully I'm going to get the good pattern. I want that chopper to appear right in front of me after I take care of the radar. I don't want it to appear on the other side. Skip the sequence. Okay, good. Damage the chopper a bit. That's good. Okay. So hopefully I get this in this cycle. Got it. Good. That's an extremely good helicopter fight. You want to get it in 2 to 3 cycles, because otherwise this level can really turn into a pain, because you're just fighting off the chopper and you're fighting off enemy guards as well who drop from the chopper. And the guards have a strange hitbox, I've noticed. I don't know why. It's like it's really hard to hit them. The auto aim. So this last level is nothing too challenging. It's got some AI manipulation in it though, because I'm going to be again trying to get 4 guards to appear on screen together in a specific spot to make my exit out of this level much easier. It's going to somewhat depend, I think, on this one, and okay, good. I can't prove it, but I think having just that 1 guard appear instead of 2 normally makes that a lot easier. 1, 2, normally it doesn't run out like that. 4, okay, good. So basically this is going to make my exit out of here much faster. Because there shouldn't be, nope, no guard. If there's only fewer than 3 guards, there will be a guard there as I land. And he's got a shotgun, and at that close range, it's a good bet he's not going to miss. So that was really good. That's a 30-30. That's a PB so far. Knock on wood. So now we come to the beginning of the second half of this run, and everything you saw was basically irrelevant. This is where the run really begins, in my opinion. Because the next 9 levels are going to consist of about 42 to 45 minutes of gameplay. And the next 3 levels in particular are extremely long. The first 2 levels are basically navigating this cathedral and saving test subjects and killing scientists. That didn't go. That was kind of an awkward way out of there. So yeah, there's 19 scientists and 10 test subjects in the next 2 levels. And the good news is there is no RNG to any of this. The scientists will appear in the same location every single time, same with the test subjects. So it's just a question of learning the route and then maximizing your interactions with the test subjects so you don't have to spend any more time than you already do, and just getting rid of the scientists efficiently. And with 1 or 2 exceptions, that's not too much of a challenge. Most of the scientists you encounter are unarmed, and the ones that aren't are surprisingly accurate with their weapons. Pick up these gas grenades, which are going to come in handy in a couple of spots in this level and the next one. And they're going to be put to good use up ahead here. Three for the price of 1. Grab the PK-102. This is just really to make combat for the next few minutes easy enough. You probably skip it because not too many of the guards around here have flak jackets. The scientists are really the only ones that do. But this is just a safety play, and I think it's an advisable one because you don't have to worry about ammo. So what I'm going to be trying to do here, and hopefully the game is obliging in that respect, is keep my armor at full for the next 90 seconds. Because there's a library sequence up ahead that can be really dicey, and staying at full health will help mitigate any risks I might be taking. One advantage Syphon Filter 2 and 3 have over the original is cycling through weapons is much faster in 2 and 3. It's almost instantaneous. Here, there's a slight animation delay. Oh, the scientist ran. That's not good. So I got him. That's the sort of medium interaction skip, because there's he does a slight motion with his hand as he inserts the injection. If you do it correctly, it's instantaneous. There's no delay. So, okay, this is the library sequence. This again will involve a little bit of AI manipulation, because again I'm trying to get 4 enemy guards to appear on screen at the same time, and usually there's a guard in the window up top that would be shooting at me right now. So this is unusual. Okay. So it looks like I'm going to have to do a little extra work in the next section. It's not a big deal, but the ideal way is there'd be 4 guards shooting at me through the windows and down below. Today it's only 2. So I'm fairly certain. I go through the window, there's going to be one on the bridge here, and there's going to be another one. Yep. Normally, if in the ideal scenario, I could just run straight through without having to deal with any guards. Today there are 2. Okay, took care of him. Good. So, not the best pattern for that section. Normally, it would just be one on the bridge, and then 1 or none in that room with the last test subject in this level. Got that scientist, at least. That scientist by the boxes, he has a very weird hitbox. It's a little warped. It's like a half the size of what it should be. Okay, one last scientist to take care of here. And it's pretty much a straight run to the finish. Just going to avoid these 2 guards here. There's no point in getting into a fight with them. Both of them have flak jackets anyways. Hopefully the guard behind me, who has a 4, yeah, he hit me. Yeah. That's random. It's like, does the guard behind me hit me, or does he miss a couple of times? It's not a deal breaker either way. I'm not worried about my health. There'll be plenty of flak jackets with the scientists in the next level. Guards don't know when to quit sometimes. So, that was another pretty good level. That was a sub 7-minute first level. This next level is a rerun of the first, kill scientists, save test subjects, etc. And again, there will be a little bit of AI manipulation, but it's mostly early on. What I'm going to try to do is get the scientist to come out without the guard appearing. Okay, got it. The reason for this is when I get to this next section with the next test subject, I don't want any guards to be sort of waiting to ambush me at the on the ramp here. Get the good pattern. Okay, so now I'm just take care of this scientist. Good. That scientist could be a little trolly. He can decide to just start running, and there's not a whole lot I can do except throw grenades or try and shoot him. And he's armed, so that doesn't make things any easier for me. So this next bit here, I'm going to throw the grenade in such a place so that when the scientist is programmed to spawn when I reach a certain point on the ramp, and he runs right into my trap. We'll be seeing that again in the final battle, because that's exactly what I'm going to do to Romer. I'm going to throw my gas grenade in such a location so that when I press the button to blow up the missile, and then as soon as the sequence ends, the grenade that I threw before I pressed the button will still be going, and Romer will run right into it, and that will end the game. Oh yeah, spoiler alert, sorry.
I think I know how they've been moving the virus. Check.
But, well, you knew this. That was unusual. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. If I have, it was a long time ago. But I thought the game had soft-locked on me for about half a second. That's part of the reason why I've set the timer at 1:30 for this game, is because I can handle I can predict or anticipate most of this game's weirdness, but there are times where the game decides to really just throw a curveball on you and throw all your carefully planned preparation out the window. There's really not a whole lot you can do about it. And death is not especially forgiving in this game. It seems like every time you die, it's about a 1-minute time loss, because checkpoints are not exactly plentiful in this game. Not like in the in Syphon Filter 2 and 3. 2 is extremely difficult, but at least, you know, checkpoints tend to come out in bunches for you. Not so much in this game. There are some levels where there's only one checkpoint. The bunker is a good example. There's only one checkpoint in that level. The third to last level in the caves also has one checkpoint, and it's right smack dab in the middle of the level. So if you make a mistake at just before the midpoint or the end, which is possible, it's about a 90-second to 2-minute time loss, depending. So this level is a little more forgiving in that respect. Okay. You want to be quick as you turn around, because that guard does throw grenades. And if he does successfully throw it, it will ignite the chemicals. And generally speaking, 2 guards appear as I was about to round that corner, but today, no. I'm going to take a little bit of damage here from the guards behind me. It's alright. Okay, there goes the scientist and the guard. Sometimes there's a guard as I round that corner, and sometimes there's a guard on the ledge here. Yep, he's there. No problem. Had to resist the urge to reload, because I would have had to take that call with Markinson, and I'd rather not. Okay, I'm going to take a safety here. I'm going to grab this K3G4. It's not for this level, it's for the next level. Oof, taking more, too much damage there. Okay, I'm through. So, the rest of this level is pretty basic. There's just one more scientist to take care of, and then just a handful of guards on my way to the finish line. And this level and the previous one are long, but they're not especially difficult once you know how to basically get through them. You just gotta watch. The only thing you really need to watch out for is sometimes when you're going off the boxes, you don't want to get yourself caught and go too far off the edge too fast, because you'll probably die. Because that's another thing with this game is falling from high ledges tends to kill you. 2 and 3 have that problem, as well, but not to the same degree this one does. This one has a lot of ledges that are just calling for your death. Okay, down to the Rose Chat, down to the Catacombs, and we're done. Another really good level. So now we come to the infamous Catacombs level. I hate it, you hate it, even if you've never played this game before, you hate this level. This level is the longest in the game by far. It takes 9 minutes, and you're really at the mercy of the AI. And your ally AI, I should be more exact. This level is basically broken into 3 chunks. This first chunk here is following the scientist to Fagin's cell. Now, unfortunately, unlike the Far Expo level, there is no skip here. I have to follow this scientist for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Because I'm following him so he can open a door. This part isn't especially difficult. You just got to be a little careful, because if you miss, it's probably the end of it. It's probably going to set off the alarms. Because the guards, it doesn't take much for the guards to start shooting. Slide past. Okay. Got a good spawn with this guy. I'm just going to ignore this guard. Sometimes I have a tendency to take him down. It doesn't really do anything, though, because he's not going to come around the corner and ambush me or anything. And again, if I miss, it's the end of the mission. It's going to set me back, and that's about a 75 to 90 second time loss. All for basically showing off. Now, this next section here, after he passes, I'm going to manipulate the camera so I get a beat and see if there's a guard coming basically parallel with the scientist. Yes. He appears about 3/4 of the time. If he doesn't, if he does or doesn't, it doesn't really matter either way. I'm going to pick up this G18 ammo. I'm going to switch to the K3G4. Now, this is the really frustrating part of the level. Basically, Fagin is escorting me, and he's not being very cooperative right now. Why he's slowing. There's really nothing I can do to make this go faster other than not run into him. That's about the only thing I can do. And that's a preventative measure. Come on, Fagin. At least he's running. God, you're so slow. Basically, if I run into him, he stops moving altogether, and it takes about 2 to 3 seconds to really get going again. And that's really frustrating. Now, you know you've played this game too much when you know the route that you're supposed to take. Probably a sign that you should quit. So, at least this section is merciful in that it comes with 2 checkpoints. Well, 1 checkpoint here. This is about the 40% mark of this section. This section takes about anywhere from 3 minutes to about 3:45, depending on what kind of how trolly Fagin decides to be. The other reason I picked up the K3G4 is it allows me to use the G18 for this section, and the G18 is a godsend. There's 5 guards, and none of them have flak jackets. So. Did I say 5? Maybe it's 6. Just 6 or 7. Doesn't really matter. Sometimes there is no guard there. And you want to be quick when you shoot down these guards because it just makes this faster. Oh, why are you stopping? They even run into you. So like I said, Fagin has a mind of his own, and he's a real pain. But there is really no good way to get him to go faster. I've tried just about everything you can think of. going to switch to the K3G4 for this last section because there are a couple of guards with flak jackets, and I don't want to spend more time than I have to.
This way.
Come on. Come on. There you go. Okay, well, at least she's running. That's credit for that. You just want to be careful when you are shooting because Fagin does also have a tendency to run into your line of sight at the most inopportune moment because, you know, on top of being a bad guy, he's just poorly designed, I think. That's the last guard for this section, and we are done. As soon as Fagin gets going, so. Now, at least with Leon, I can make her go faster. I'm going to do it
That's her cell. You're on your own now.
as soon as this cutscene ends.
Let's
It's going to look very cruel, but it works.
check your fire.
Basically, wounding her encourages her to go faster. So, generally, if she were at full health, she would be stopping to shoot those guards. Instead, she's just going to run like the wind through the next two and a half minutes. And this allows for some decent AI manipulation that guards that normally spawn don't. And that makes the situation a little easier in a few spots. The only thing you got to be careful is, again, do not try and avoid shooting her whenever possible. Like, so, luckily, she actually at least holds her own. She usually takes care of some of these guards for me. So basically, I'm more concerned about my health than I am about hers. But again, and that's a minor concern. So I just got to stay close to her and she'll do most of the... Just let her navigate out of here.
Cover me.
Oof. It's a lot more damage than I would like. To slightly adjust my tactics in this next section. Ugh. No, no, no. Do not kill me.
What are you doing?
Okay. This changes the scenario. This changes the situation slightly, but not to the point where it's going to be a problem. Why are you not coming up the stairs, Leon? Okay. Carry on. Okay, should be fine.
Where are you going?
That didn't go swimmingly, but at least I survived, and I'm still ahead of my PB. So yeah, I'm about 35 seconds ahead going into the final section of the game. This first warehouse level isn't especially difficult, but there are some dangerous spots. So I'm going to be trying to sort of... I was hoping to get PK-102 ammo, but that's fine. This is basically the name of the game for this level is Combat Avoidance. Yeah, I took care of those two guards, but in general, I don't want to be getting into gunfights here with Romer and Fagin's men. Let them shoot each other rather than me. Got a shotgun? Yes, he does. And it's fairly random into what the guards are carrying. They're either carrying PK-102s or combat shotguns. The main objective of this level is to plant viral, is to tag viral carriers. There are 3 in this level, 3 in the next level. Okay, there's my PK-102. And there is no RNG to this. They are in the same locations every single time. This isn't like Syphon Filter 3 with those viral plants where you're praying for the good pattern. So, a little more. Okay, I'm going to pick up these grenades. I'm going to be using them in 2 spots in the next minute or so. Not what I was hoping for, but okay. Come on. We're taking away valuable health from me. Okay. That wasn't the way I was hoping it would go, but I should be okay, provided I don't get bad AI draws in the next minute or so. Don't shoot at me, aim at them. So that's going to come in handy later on. Okay, so I'm going to be throwing a grenade here in a couple of seconds, basically to force the AI away from its starting position and to give me a bit of a window to turn the switch on. Because generally speaking, if I tried to do this without throwing the grenade, they would see me and they would cut me to pieces. I got 2 of them. I don't know why I dropped there, but okay. All right. Oh dear. That's what I was afraid of. There goes the deathless run. Luckily that's only about a 12-second loss or so. Oof. That didn't go so well. Luckily there's flak jackets waiting for me at the end of this level, otherwise I'd be in deep trouble. Okay, so this is where I'm going to throw a grenade into the corner here to despawn a couple of guards from appearing. If I didn't do this, there'd be 3 guards with flak jackets coming after me, and one of them would be throwing grenades at me. Goes. Alright, I'm through. So this next section up ahead has some randomness to it. There's going to be 2 guards in white, Fagan's men. They're going to come running past me. I'm going to let them pass. Now. Oh. Generally, there are 3 guards that appear. Today it was just 1. So that was a welcome development. That saved about 6 or 7 seconds. And that's the end of the level. So now, every guard I encounter from now on is going to be wearing a flak jacket. So it is absolutely vital that you learn the headshot by this point, otherwise you're in a lot of trouble.
For parts. Leon. And check.
Let's skip the flak jacket here. Just go for it because it shouldn't take any damage, or it should be minor. Okay, that was key, getting through that one, because now I'll just take out the next guard and be back to full health. More ammo than I would have liked to expend, but that's alright. This has been a recent development that I've used. Usually I would have used the K3G4 on these two guards here. And I'm going to start to wish I did in about 5 seconds. Okay. K3G4's one distinct advantage is it will cut through flak jackets if they're wearing them. Okay, that's one viral carrier down. This... Ooh. Okay. Sometimes the guard appears there on the other side of the fence. If he did, I would have shot him immediately. Okay, oof. These guards are unusually persistent, but only to a point. Okay. So this is sort of a shortcut. You're not really supposed to go this way, generally speaking, but this is so much faster. Take care of that guard quickly, because he also throws grenades. Wait for this sign. Okay. That was a quasi-safety move. I could have planted the carrier, but then as soon as that cutscene ended, they would have been shooting at me, and I don't want to deal with two of them at close range, because they're not going to miss. Okay, that guard's a little weird. Sometimes he just stands there as I round the corner, and sometimes he comes out guns blazing like that time. So the rest of this level is pretty much a straight sprint through these tunnels. The K3G4 is the second best gun in the game because it has the firepower of a 45, but the speed of an M16. So, you know, this gun will basically carve through the enemies without any real difficulty. I wanted to stay at full health for this section if I could manage it, and I did. So, because I'm going to be attempting one, maybe two fire skips.
Gabe, that's warehouse 76. The entrance to the silo is in there somewhere.
It was a good level overall. The second fire skip will depend on the first one. If I don't get a good first fire skip, I'm probably not going to bother with the second because it only saves about 7 seconds. And while it looks pretty cool, it's an unnecessary risk at this stage. There's fire skip number 1. And I didn't roll well enough. That's bad. Oof. It's the first time I missed that one in a while. Luckily, it's only about a 12-second loss. Nerves are starting to get to me a little. That's a close call. I'm probably going to still skip it because I just died. Whew. Normally he doesn't appear if I strafe like that. Okay. Another 3 for 1. Tempting. No, I'm not going to do it. That guard appearing actually almost made me consider going for it, but no. I'm going to do this the regular way. basically the second fire skip is I can shoot the switch through that door, through a narrow opening, and then roll through another opening to get to the elevator. Okay, switch. So, but because I died, and I really just don't want to deal with it right now. I'm trying to break my PB here, and I'm still going to be about 10 seconds ahead going into the final section of the game. Actually, less than 10 seconds.
I'll hurry.
Basically, I've just wound up being exactly at even. So that's unfortunate. So this next, because I have some armor, I'm going to go for this one. It's not really a skip, but it's a more optimal way to handle these guards.
Right.
Come on. Okay. So this level, as I mentioned earlier, isn't that hard, but it only has one checkpoint. So you got to be pretty precise in your movements in a few places, otherwise you could end up in a lot of trouble. Okay, got the interaction skip there. Basically, if you approach that ledge from the corner, then press triangle, you can skip the combo, which would have cost me about 4 or 5 seconds. The good news is all the guards are carrying Biz 2, a fair amount of the guards are carrying Biz 2 submachine guns, so I can really just fly through these guys. Not have to worry about my ammo count. Now you can skip that guard and try to go for this ledge, this little maneuver, but if you're not fast enough, he throws grenades and you will die. So you've got to be very quick.
Leon, is there a power schematic? Right.
The only checkpoint is coming up, and it's basically turning on a power relay switch to give power to the elevators, because the electrical system in this place, as you would expect, is pretty messed up. So now I'm going to do a roll skip here. It's not really a skip, but it's a faster way of handling this situation. Hopefully I get it right. Okay, good. So basically I'm just going to land here, take care of the guard, and switch to the K3G4 for the first time. And just get down here. So that saves about 15 seconds rather than doing it the normal way, which would have me sniping those guards from the top of my ledge there. Oh, that was a good pattern. That was a bad start to it. These guards, there are only 6 more guards, and they all come in threes, and the AI pattern is pretty easy for all 3 of them. You just got to be careful, because sometimes they do have a tendency to do their own thing, and it can kill you pretty quickly if you're not careful. Okay. So, yeah, these last 3 guards, they're a little weird. Sometimes they're in a crouch walk, sometimes they're running, you know, sometimes they're just walking. It really depends. It's extremely random. But as long as I get the first 2, I should be okay. Okay. So it's going to turn on these 3 switches, and that's the end of the level.
Power room. I'm going to try to overload the generator.
Be careful. I'm not sure what that will do to the power room. The whole place could blow.
I don't have much choice.
Actually, all told, that was an extremely good level. It might be... Yeah, it might be a PB. So, this next level... The beginning is actually the most dangerous part, because I'm going to be doing a little bit of a little skip here. Hopefully I get it right. Yep, okay. Basically, instead of climbing on that ledge, I just roll and try and grab the edge of the platform. So now it's just basically a dead sprint to the finish. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh boy. That's the problem with the Biz 2, is when it's turned on you, it's very dangerous. Okay. I'll take a slightly defensive approach to these two guards. Normally I just run right through them with the Biz, but because that one guard got a few shots off on me, I just slightly adjust my tactics. Okay. Thought I got them both at the same time. So there's a guard down here. He's down. So there's just a few more guards up here. There's one on this elevator platform thingy. You don't have to shoot him, but I'm just going to take care of him now. I don't want to deal with it. Because generally you could run up here and slip past him without being seen, but if you don't do it right, he's got a Biz and he will cut you to pieces if you let him. So oh good, I didn't get to grab the crate like I have of late. So there's 6 more guards to deal with, maybe 7 depending on the AI. I hope it's not 7, because 7 means it's going to take about 10 seconds longer. Oh, that was close. That was really close. That was a very good level overall. So now it's down to the grand finale. This level isn't extremely difficult, but it can catch up on you if you're not careful. Because there are going to be a couple of things I'm going to be doing here, and they both carry their own risks. Okay. I'm going to switch to the K3G4 here. Take care of these 2 guards on the bottom level of the silo. Whoa. Didn't get a good pattern, but at least I survived. Okay, so the first part of this is getting the firing codes from the Devyatka. Now, if you were paying attention to the story at all at this stage, you would have learned that Markinson is an antagonist, your boss, and he's been trying to get Syphon Filter for the agency this whole time. But he failed to foresee that Fagan and Romer had their own plans for Syphon Filter, and they are out to commit mass murder. Eventually, it's determined the agency wants to do that too, but but that's the impetus of Syphon Filters 2 and 3. Okay, so I'm going to slip past these guards here, and I'm going to try and get to there's a scientist with a key card. I'm going to try and get that key card without having to deal with all these guards. Key card. Through. Okay. Good. That can be really dangerous because that guard behind me has a Biz 2. Okay. Now that thing I was talking about earlier with the manipulation with Romer, well, here it is. This is really simple, and it's a lot easier than the normal way. So, as soon as the cutscene ends, checkpoint, and time!
Logan!
Well, that is a PB. That is a 1:14.25. So I broke 1:15 and set a PB at the same time. That's outstanding. And if not for the 2 deaths, it probably would have gone below 1:14.
Started on this disc, and you're...
So that was an extremely good run. I'm very pleased with that overall. It was very efficient and very well executed overall. So
What's it all mean? I don't...
I hope you at Games Done Quick enjoyed this commentary. I hope you found it informative. I hope you'll accept Syphon Filter, a game that's never been run before at a Games Done Quick. I think, as you can see, it's an interesting game. It's, I think, one of the better PlayStation games overall, and it's kind of an interesting title that has some challenges that you've seen before, but also some stuff you haven't seen before, and I think it'll be a fun and informative game for everyone at Games Done Quick and for all of the viewers around the world. I hope to see you all in January 2018. Thank you.